Has it started, Prabhu?
You may start.
Okay. All right. Today we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam from Canto 3, Chapter 21, verse 30. I'll read through the verse, translation and purport. Tvam cha samyak anusthaya nidesham ma ushattamaha mayi tirthi kruta shesha kriyartho mam prapatshyase. Tvam cha samyak anusthaya nidesham ma ushattamaha mayi tirthi krita shesha kriyartho mam prapatshyase. Synonyms: Tvam, you; Cha, and; Samyak, properly; Anusthaya, having carried out; Nidesham, command; Me, my; Ushattamaha, completely cleansed; Mayi, unto me; Tirthi Krita, having resigned; Ashesa, all; Kriya, of actions; Arthaha, the fruits; Mam, to me; Prapatsyase, you will attain. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. With your heart cleansed by properly carrying out my command, resigning to me the fruits of all your acts, you will finally attain to me. Purport. Here the words Tirthi, Kritashesha, Kriyartha are significant. Tirtha means a sanctified place where charity is given. People used to go to places of pilgrimage and give munificently in charity. This system is still current. Therefore, the Lord said, in order to sanctify your activities and the results of your actions, you will offer everything unto me. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice, the result should be given to me only. In another place in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices, all penances, and everything done for the welfare of mankind or society. All activities, therefore, whether for the welfare of family, society, country, or humanity at large, must be performed in Krishna consciousness. That is the instruction given by the Lord to Kardama Muni. Maharaj Yudhishthira welcomed Narada Muni. Wherever you are present, that place becomes sanctified, because the Lord Himself is always seated in your heart. Similarly, if we act in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the Lord and His representative, then everything is sanctified. This is the indication given to Kardama Muni, who acted on it and therefore received the most excellent wife and child, as will be disclosed in later verses. Go to the prayers and we can start some discussion. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Om Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskrutyam Narancheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Again, the translation reads, with your heart cleansed by properly carrying out my command, resigning to me the fruits of all your acts, you will finally attain to me. So in this chapter, Kardama Muni does austerities. I think it's like 1,000-year meditation on the Lord. And then the Lord himself appears and Kardama Muni starts glorifying him. The goal of his austerities or his penances is to get a wife, a chaste wife, and that when Lord appears, he prays to the Lord, but he's not sure how to ask for that blessing because one performs devotional service not to ask for any material benefits. However, Kardama Muni presents his desire, and Prabhupada nicely puts in those purpose that he's doing that because he's an obedient, he's obeying his father Brahmaji to populate this universe. And then he starts glorifying the Lord. In this section, Lord responds to Kardama Muni after his glorification. And in this verse, Lord says to Kardama Muni that once the heart is cleansed, and that is how, by properly carrying out Lord's command. And by doing that, and also by resigning to the Lord all the fruits of one's actions, then he will attain to me. And in the purport, Prabhupada explains what are those instructions in Bhagavad Gita that Lord speaks himself. One of them is Yat karosi yadashnasi. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice, those results should be given to me only, which is the Lord. And that is from Bhagavad Gita 9.27. Before that, Lord talks about the pure bhakti, the one verse which we all know, that Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. In that verse, he talks about the bhakti. In fact, he brings out like 3 times the word bhakti, or twice, sorry. And that, I'm reading this verse, he describes the process of pure bhakti in that verse, where it involves complete dedication to him. And then next he speaks about doing everything as an offering to Krishna. For those who are not able to perform bhakti at that level, the level of pure bhakti, Krishna will now describe the process of doing everything as an offering to him. Then the verse starts that Yat karosi yadashnasi yat juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva mad arpanam. And the book I'm reading, the Acharya's commentaries, says that this is not Ananya Bhakti. Krishna didn't use the word Bhakti in this verse, yet this is predominantly Bhakti with some mixture of other elements. It is similar to Karma Yoga because activities are performed, but it is superior to Karma Yoga or Nishkama Karma Yoga because all activities, even beyond the prescribed duties, are offered to the Lord without desire. It is similar to Jnana Mishra Bhakti because the person has knowledge of Atma and Paramatma. But it is superior to Jnana Mishra Bhakti because it has abundant appreciation of the Lord's personal features as well. But because the consciousness is not always fixed on the Lord, and one does the activities he wants to do and then offers them to Krishna after performing them rather than before. Thus, it cannot be called as Ananya Bhakti, in which one knows that what actions are pleasing to the Lord and then performs them, thereby offering those activities to Krishna even before performing them. So, even this verse, Lord talks about resigning all the reactions of one's karma, or the fruits of his actions, to offer it to the Lord. Then why Lord has to give this instruction to Kardama Muni. So, or why Lord has to even go and talk about Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga instead of just glorifying the Bhakti part. So we can get all these kinds of questions arise. And what I've understood from listening to other speakers is that when the Karma Yoga is the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita is explained, or Jnana Yoga, it is Lord is giving everyone an opportunity to perform or to elevate oneself to that pure devotional service. One may not be in a level to perform direct devotion. For example, if we go one approach to someone and say start chanting, do deity worship and whatnot, all the direct levels of bhakti, one may not show interest. In fact, one may actually go away from it. Prabhupada describes it as a violence. If one actions allows others to distract from his own bhakti, then it is a violence in Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, one may do karma yoga because anyway one has to perform actions, and one can perform bhakti that way easily compared to bhakti yoga directly. So that way one is comfortable doing their own actions and then performing or offering those actions to Krishna, and then continuing that way in karma yoga. Then once one gets detached from his actions, then one want to understand who he is, then one may get to the platform of Jnana or Jnana Yoga, and then he performs Jnana Yoga. Then he understand who is he and who is real self and the super soul, or who is the Lord and what is his relationship, and then one may understand in that in the platform of Jnana Yoga, and then slowly elevate to the Bhakti Yoga. So here as well, when Krishna or the Lord is telling Kardama Muni to offer everything to Krishna, it is not Ananya Bhakti as we just read. And the explanation talks about because it is similar to Karma Yoga because there are activities performed. At the same time, it is superior to Karma Yoga. What does that mean? Because it is not just activities or even beyond the prescribed duties. These are offered to the Lord without any desire. In Karma Yoga, we desire and then we offer to the Lord. That is how it happens. It is before rather than it is after where we perform or offer them to Krishna rather than before. Whereas in Bhakti Yoga, the step that we take even before offering them to Krishna is because we want to offer it to Krishna. Then the actions are being chosen that way. There was a nice example that I heard from other devotees where, for example, let's say you want to grow a garden and one has interest to have flowers or fruits, whatnot, for his own self, and then he grows a garden and then he comes back and then say, okay, let me offer this to Krishna and accept it. So that way it is kind of a karma yoga. But let's say if we want to grow a garden just because we want to offer it to Krishna and then we start a garden for Krishna, then that means we are trying to do something because we want to do something for Krishna. Then it becomes bhakti yoga. So instead of performing or offering before or after, we are doing it even before. So there is a subtle difference there, before and after. And Krishna says also here, one needs to properly carry out his commands or instructions we get either within or without. Without is through various scriptures like Bhagavad Gita itself and Bhagavatam, other scriptures, and his representatives, acharyas, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, these three primarily. So without is that, and when we get those instructions, whether within or without, sometimes we don't see them clearly. Or, for example, in this one, Krishna says to resign everything, the fruits of our actions to Krishna. But when once these instructions are given to these devotees like Kardama Muni or other devotees like Bhishma Dev or other pure devotees, Dhruva Maharaj or anyone, they were able to perform so nicely and they were able to attain Krishna. The same instructions are given to us in the scriptures or by our spiritual masters. I sometimes feel, why then I'm not able to do this? Then we know that why we are not able to see ourselves, because there is this our dear friend we call our false ego. He is trying to cover our real self, and therefore we are not able to, even though know that there is an instruction to offer our fruits to Krishna, but we are not able to do it because that is hijacking, in to say that hijacking our intelligence and covering our soul and not see our real self. And it is telling, instead of do that, do this, which is an immediate sense gratification or immediate happiness. Whatever is that, a quick fix that we get, then we are trying to perform that because that is giving us happiness. And after a while, we feel that is not happiness anymore, that is a misery. So even in instructions, we know, for example, Krishna says, or Prabhupada says in several ways, that this material world is temporary and one needs to get out of it immediately. Or one does not belong to this material world. And how our false ego translates that to ourself is that, oh, you know what? We are not fitted. We are not lovable. We are not accepted in this world. See, there is a subtle difference how we process that information and what we think. We try to prove ourselves that, no, I belong here, or I need someone's approval, or I need appreciation. And we are completely distracted from our real goal, that we does not belong here. Doesn't mean that we should not stay in this world while we are in this body, or try to prove ourselves that we do belong here. Both are incorrect. So we belong in the spiritual world with our eternal master, and we use this instrument, our body, our senses, our relationships, to attain that. But our false ego completely hijack that and give us a completely different perception, where we are not belonging here in terms of our bodily conception. And other topics in this verse, Prabhupada talks about the tirtha, the keyword tirtha, which is a sanctified place where charity is given. And that is also a place of pilgrimage where one goes and stays in that place, or worshipable place, or gives in charity. And we have quite often we heard that a place of pilgrimage is also a place where pure devotees stay, and we go there and we hear from them. That is a true purpose of going to the places of pilgrimage, hearing from the devotees who have already seen or who have already realized itself. And that way, one needs to approach these places where it truly sanctifies our heart and also attain that bhakti. I'm also saying the other verse we know Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. That is the Krishna says, "I'm the enjoyer of all sacrifices, all penances, and everything done for the welfare of mankind or society." And Prabhupada says that one must perform their actions for the welfare of everyone as well as himself, and they must be performed in Krishna consciousness. In our Srimad Bhagavatam group reading, we were doing 8th canto, just started, but in the end of 7th canto, for the last chapter, Krishna Prabhupada talks about something similar, how one needs to perform Krishna consciousness. I really got inspired with that few lines, where he says, one is to perform Krishna consciousness in one's own natural position. So what is a natural position? A natural position is something that one stays in his own level or his own conviction. One may have different convictions. One may have one conviction, another person can have another conviction. But one need to stay within their own conviction and one's own position in their own ashrama or varna, and then perform bhakti. And therefore, one should not imitate other devotees or other devotees' convictions and try to go that way and fail ultimately. So, for example, one may have, or I may have tendency to do more chanting. One may have tendency to do hearing, or one may have more tendency to do deity worship. So whatever their tendencies are, one needs to stay there and perform their bhakti. One should not or imitate others and do something else which is not natural for him. So that way one can enthusiastically perform their Krishna consciousness. At the same time, one may get to other limbs of bhakti as well, because one is practicing very strongly in his own strength. So this is the way one should naturally perform and does not imitate others. That way one can help himself as well as the general welfare of the others as well as the society. I'm sorry, I'm just getting distracted because my battery is staying low. Maybe a few more minutes, but yeah. And yeah, that's one. The last thing I want to talk about is how one gets heart cleansed. We usually talk about the holy name, which really cleanses our heart. That is Yuga Dharma as well. So, as I was talking about one natural position, it is not meant to say that one should, okay, one is very good at deity worship, so one should only do deity worship. Our Yuga Dharma, we should not forget that the holy name, the chanting is primary. So whether one likes it or not, it is a regulation given by our acharyas that one should perform the chanting and then do other whatever the tendencies one may have. So in today I want to talk about what I recently heard from His Grace Hariparshad Prabhu. He gives a very nice pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In we know that pastime of Gundicha Marjana, how he repeatedly cleanses the temple. So before that, what he does a South India tour where he goes different places in the several parts of South India, and wherever he goes, people really appreciate the bhakti and takes up bhakti. And he was very successful in that tour, and he comes back to his place. And as soon as he comes, everyone tries to glorify him, as well as the king sends an invitation to come and meet him, to glorify him as well, to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His followers as well tries to tell him that king is trying to call you, so let's go and meet him. It is such a nice thing. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't accept that invitation, and the next pastime he does is to do the Gundicha Marjana, the cleansing of the temple. And he asks all his followers to come as well. And what he does, there are three things that Haripashit Prabhu highlights in this one. How he cleanses it repeatedly, not just one time. He cleanses the temple multiple times in that pastime. I'm sorry, I'm distracted again because of the battery. Give me 1 minute. I'll be back and turn on my battery charger. Right, thank you. So what I was saying, in those three things, the first thing is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does is who are the follower who tries to, or who even came there and tried to help cleaning the temple. He he put all the sandalwood paste on their bodies. So to tell them that you're already glorified even before they clean the temple. He's glorifying them because they have that they took up the first step, their desire to clean the temple. Even the trial of doing that itself is glorified by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Second, they all enter and they clean the temple, and uh, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does it himself. It's not like he tells everyone else to do and he oversee it, but he also does himself, being the Lord. And the third, uh, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu collects even more dust than everyone else collected together. So these three things were the highlights of that pastime that Prabhu shares. So when one starts to chant as well, this is where I want to bring it to conclusion. When start to chant and try to clean their heart, even when tries to do that itself is glorified from that pastime. So even when we start to try to do chanting for ourselves or for Krishna, for that connection, even that is glorified. And second, when we start chanting uh, with our own efforts, we should remember that even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is helping us to cleanse our heart, not just our effort or whatever we collect our dust from our previous anarthas. Is even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is even helping us to collect or to remove more dust even than us. So that is how we can, when we approach our chanting, we should have that mood of cleansing our heart, and also uh, be sure that Krishna is helping us as well in our cleansing part. Otherwise, with our own efforts, we cannot clean or get ourselves purified without their mercy. I think this is where I would like to maybe end. Maybe there are a few points, but let's see if there is any other comments, uh, questions, or any discussion. But I would like to thank, before this end, uh, thank Kamalakshmi Prabhu for kindly switching with me today. Tomorrow was my class, but today I took it. And then also I would like to send my greatest, deepest gratitude to my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Rompada Swami Maharaj, and all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis present in this uh, community who were patiently hearing from me in this class. Thank you so much. Stop sharing.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept
Nice, nice class, and very, very practical and relevant to us, as practicing devotees. And while we know that, bhakti is to really offer, to think about Krishna first and then do the action, with Krishna's satisfaction being the goal. Um, it is, one has to really endeavor to keep that in mind. For certain things, it's easy, but for certain other things, it's not so. Especially as grihasthas, cooking, for example, offering bhoga. Most of the time, you're thinking about the family and the tastes of each individual within the family, and accordingly we cook.
Right.
So yeah, so that's one thing which is a challenge, I think.
Yes, Mataji.
And also,
Thank you.
yeah, also one thing that you mentioned about, according to one's nature, that is a kind of a tough one, I think, where, if you're more inclined towards reading or services, but one has to chant because it is the yoga dharma. And so, yeah, I think it is, probably seeking their mercy to be able to execute the yoga dharma, even though one's nature or the distractions and all these things may not be so conducive
Mhm.
to chanting. So if you have any comments or thoughts on
Thank you
that.
for the reflections, Mataji. Yes, chanting is always a challenge. When I start chanting in the morning, I can tell myself, okay, come back, be mindful, be present. I should be able to do for a few rounds, thinking, it's the same thing. Like, okay, this is not me saying, because I get all the wonderful ideas when I chant, all the wonderful things that I can think of, even in the mode of goodness, or about pastimes and whatnot. And I tell to myself, Krishna is not asking that to remember his past tense at this time. He's already there in his name. So, and I can try to come back and tell my false ego, I know this is you coming, hijacking my consciousness again. And as much as I can, but, I can see the difference as well as the day progresses, my chanting, few rounds, 6 rounds, 8 rounds, and then it becomes so difficult to focus even more. It's not because of the tiredness, but it is just because there is no, what do you call, potency or shakti, that much strength for me to focus for continuously 2 hour 45 minutes. And I just do the chanting, just praying for his mercy. But if I look that way, thinking about just 2.5 hours, but throughout the day, how much I can focus. If I'm not able to focus the first 2.5 hours of the day, I can tell myself, okay, this is where in what kind of bhakti I am. So it is so much to work on, trying to focus on our bhakti, but I can tell myself that nowhere to perform this. But yeah, thank you for your reflection.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, anyone else? Otherwise, I know Lakshmikant Prabhu was in his work. I can end it. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.